Myers. Track and Soccer Stadium, and the first women's, I should restate that, the first of two steeplechases, the first on the women's side. Jenny Simpson mentioned her moments ago, currently ranked #1 in the world at 1,500 meters, also holds the collegiate record, 9:24.54. And Dwight and Larry, this is still very much a relatively new event. It only joined the Olympic family of track and field events, if you will, in 2008 in Beijing. And one of the favorites here this evening is Mary Goldkamp, competed collegiately for Bradley University.
She's run, and her best ever was under 10 minutes, which is respectable time in this event. Very challenging. We'll get in and tell you a little bit about the history here. I'm always intrigued when a runner comes across and they know they'll get electronic timing for their whole event, and they wind up starting their own watch out there just to record their own time. It's almost a mechanical thing you do when you go on a run sometimes. You know what the course is, you know how long it is, and you take your time, and then you do your math as to what your pace was.
There is the entire start list, 14 runners in all. Brittany Innes from Stephen F. Austin, just a freshman. Grace Kohler, a junior at University of Texas San Antonio. Corey Gilly out of Humboldt State on the West Coast, beautiful part of Northern California. We've talked about Goldkamp. Kelsey Bruce out of Dallas Baptist. Kristen Fritz out of Purdue. Katrina Fight out of Stephen F. Austin. Hannah Grubb is a redshirt freshman here at the University of Texas. Emma Jewell from Incarnate Word down in San Antonio. Kelly Trevino out of Texas State. Emma Ramirez out of Midwestern State, a personal best of 11:10. Tyler Farrar out of Tarleton State. Michaela Johnson out of West Texas A&M. And Carolyn McClanahan out of the University of Houston.
And some of the people, you mentioned Humboldt State, you're right, it's just a gorgeous area with giant redwoods and all that stuff that Northern California has. Part of the 200 colleges and universities that have come here to Austin to compete in these great relays. Hats off to James Barr and his team of people who work so hard to get all the coordination done here and for the entries and everything that it takes. This is a very labor-intensive sport to put on a major relay car.
Goldkamp already running very much by herself, which is a difficult thing to do in this very challenging race with all of the barriers.
She runs here and trains here in Austin, does Goldkamp, and hats off to her. It is very difficult when you get out of college and you're not a Leo Manzano quality person. In terms of their talent, to be able to get enough to live on from a shoe company or a corporate sponsor of some sort. And so you take a job and you train nights, and the Adidas Rogue organization does that here extensively. It's a flourishing organization right here in Austin and helps athletes collegiately who want to continue to run after their college days are done. Dwight and I were just chatting over as Goldkamp continues to control things at one of the 7 water jumps these athletes will negotiate. And it's for women, men sometimes try it, Kenyans in particular, but it's very difficult. You have to get wet, you have to step in and come out, and you do not want to move one of those, what I call railroad ties, Dwight.
Oh yeah, it's not a regular hurdle like the ones that they run on the straightaways. This thing will push back hard on you and you will lose.
That barrier could end your season.
Yeah. Yes, it
can.
One
misstep.
It can, and there's been interesting stories, and there was an Olympic Games back in '76 where a top Swede, his name's on the tip of my tongue.
Anders Jarderud.
Yeah, Jarderud, right, leading the race and fell and hurt himself and got caught on a water jump, and it virtually ended his career. I mean, to make a long story, the injury did not recover well from it, and Jarderud was gone.
Now that the weather has died, I think these athletes are very, very thankful that it's a relatively cool night here in Austin, Texas this time of year. Coming up on the end of March, it could easily be in the 80s. It's expected to be tomorrow. But boy, we started this day out in the high 50s, and it's progressively gotten better and better and better. Although a little bit of a breeze still, at probably somewhere between 6 and 10 miles per hour. But doesn't seem to be bothering Mary Goldkamp at all.
And the temperature, beautiful 66 degrees, not very humid in the air. But this is an accomplished woman in the steeplechase. 28 barriers, 7 water jumps. And it is an event that was added to track and field and had its roots way back, going way back to races that were held in local towns in England that started it. There was a period of time when in a steeplechase, they used to have races from towns to towns over there. And one of the things they would key on, they would run oftentimes through the woods, and the steeple was an area to kind of key off of as to how far you had to go. The name wound up becoming called a steeplechase and got incorporated into track and field in the 1860s-70s for the earliest times.
Just a note on Jenny Simpson out of Colorado. She holds the NCAA record. Unusual to make the transition from the steeplechase to a much more speed-sensitive event like the 1,500 meters?
You know, she has incredible range. She's run under 2 minutes for 800 meters, under 4 minutes for 1,500, along with being the world champion in that event and the World Championship silver medalist 2 years ago. But started off really as a serious steeplechaser, made the final in 2008 in Beijing, still holds the American record because Emma Coburn, unfortunately, didn't set up for an EPO test when she broke that record overseas last year. So Jenny, still on paper, is the fastest steeplechaser in American history, although Emma Coburn has run faster. But she's just one of those athletes, and there's many of them on the women's side now at the top levels of track and field in the middle distances that have really done well. Shannon Robury's name immediately comes to mind as being a very gutty runner who is up there and in contention for winning Olympic and World Championship medals at any time.
And Mary Goldkamp, who has led since the opening gun, is trying to join that elite group. We will step aside here on Longhorn Network and bring you the finish of the 3,000-meter steeplechase when we come back to beautiful Austin.